Welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert. I'm Steve Glenn.
I'm Paul Glenn.
Paul Glenn's the CEO of Executive Travel. I'm the chairman, and we come to you every week with 100,000 emails that go out to our friends, families, and anybody that'll read us with emails. And we've been doing this now, and how many years at Executive Travel, Paul?
We've been going travel at 39 years.
Almost
the
40.
Weekly Travel Alert's been going out for almost 30. I mean, it started via fax
35.
back before any of this email or any of that stuff. I remember the old router machines going, pushing those faxes out.
I remember when we got a fax machine that would send out 100 faxes.
Yep.
And I thought, boy, we're living now. And then we converted.
That would be an all-day process.
I know.
Sending those one number at a time. I remember the back room.
Yeah, hey, we're sponsored by Executive Travel, and you can find us at executivetravel.com. Our headquarters is at 1212 O Street in Lincoln, Nebraska. Glad to have you here today. Hey, we're going to talk some hot buttons in travel. A cool thing, the first thing on this week's list is maximize your United miles with friends and family. Paul, a lot of these airlines will charge you to gift your miles, which is stupid.
Almost as much as what the miles cost.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, never do that. Just issue a ticket using your miles and who you wanted to give the miles to, and you can do that. But United came up with a United Miles with Friends and Family. You can take 5 people, Paul, put them in this pool. Mm-hmm. You're going to all pool your miles and then use them for any of the 5 people in the pool. Mm-hmm. So it's a good way for people that have like 12,000 miles and aren't going to get any more, or are earning 1,000 a year or something.
Or you don't have enough for that business class ticket that you want.
Right.
And between your group, you can get to that number that you need.
Yeah.
So
I really think that's good. You can go to the United website and find out more on how to do that. It's under...
The other thing I used it, my wife passed away. I took her miles and put them into here. So that then I would have access to them. So if they would ever shut off her account or anything like that, those miles aren't there for them to reclaim. So there are things like that you might want to consider as well.
That's a good idea, because my wife Marie never uses her miles, so I should pool them in with me and do it that way. So yeah, that's a great idea. But ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a good way without having to pay extra. That's what always bugged me. And here's another thing, and I need to write. I've been doing a thing now called Executive Travel Tips. And I did my first 4 tips. And one of the things I should tip coming up is don't ever buy United or airline miles. There's a ripoff. They're 2-3 cents a piece. My gosh, you're very few times are you going to get that advantage, except if you have to top out something to get maybe a business class seat. And maybe then it's worth doing. But generally speaking, don't do that. Number 2 item on this week's edition of the Weekly Travel Alert reads, the biggest mistake travelers make is checking in luggage. Paul, we don't check in luggage. Now, I tell that to my wife every time, and she looks at me with cross eyes, okay? They're like, I'm going to take the shoes that I want.
Well, it's with my 10-year-old, it's the hair products. I mean, it's all the stuff that she needs in the bathroom. And I'm not a guy, I've never had to deal with this stuff, so I'm not a guy that's going to take the time and energy to go buy the mini bottles and then figure out how to dump them into the mini bottles. So we have 10 pounds worth of bath and shower and hair products that are all liquid that make it so we have to check. So I think there are certain people that can travel without checking a bag. You and I, if we're traveling by ourselves, definitely. But the other thing is with liquids, if coming back from Italy, bringing back a bottle of wine, you can put that into your checked bag. And olive oil, things like that. So if you are going to go someplace and get some culinary aspects of that, you can definitely do that. I have never, knock on wood, never had any bottles break in my luggage.
You better knock on it twice, okay?
But I will tend to travel with a hard bag instead of a soft bag when I'm gonna bring back any wine or anything like that.
We had Jennifer King, who helps us market for weddings at villadestinoitaly.com, and she went over to the villa, brought back about 20 bottles of olive oil, wrapped them all really cool and with some bubble stuff, whatever you call it, and none of them broke.
None of them leaked?
I hope not.
Okay, that was my, because I looked at those bottles and was trying to figure out, should I bring a couple back? And the lids wouldn't quite go tight enough that I was comfortable and confident to toss those in my bag.
I haven't noticed any leaks.
Can't imagine this shirt ever being the same if it had olive oil spilled all over it.
I got the suitcase. It's a pink polka dot luggage in there, so I better check it out. So, but basically, folks, I encourage you not to take checked luggage because it can get lost. You have to wait an extra hour when you get to your destination for it to come out, especially in a big airport like Rome or London, or it just takes forever.
And some of that goes back to, we traveling with somebody 14 or under internationally. Now they've got all these requirements because of human trafficking to where we can't go through any of the automated customs stuff.
Oh, wow.
So we stood in line for an hour and a half before we could get through customs.
So your luggage beat you.
Our luggage was sitting there off the belt waiting for us. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would encourage you, if you want to keep it easy and simple, just do carry-on luggage. Otherwise, it gets very complex. I love it because I'll change my flights 4 times, And so I'm going to be doing, in one of our upcoming episodes, an analysis of how often you can change before buying a non-refundable ticket makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll come up with that. Number 3 on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler, it reads, Why Townsizing is Now the Hottest Trend in Travel. Paul, you and I have been talking about this a lot, is you find a town or a hotel and you make that the hub of all your travel internationally or even domestically.
And not a big town.
Yeah, no, a small town. And you do it so you don't pack and unpack more than once.
Mm-hmm.
You go there, you unpack, you take your excursions, 1 hour here, half hour here, 2 hours here. And then you have no hassle, no mess.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of really cool places like we do that in Montone.
Well, in the small town, you get a better value on your hotels. Now, you're not going to have your 5-star hotels in a lot of these, but you can get a nice boutique, 3.5, 4-star hotel. But traffic then is easy, parking's easy. So yeah, there just are so many benefits to it, and you can go 2 hours, get to Rome, and go do that for a day. And
so we go to Montone, Italy, which is 2.5 hours from Rome, and it's an hour and a half from Florence. So you can do Florence in a day. You can do the small towns of Assisi. You like Spello, right?
Spello, we did Spello this last trip.
Spoleto. You can do all easy way with trains a lot too, very close. You can do trains. We go to Umbria today. Mm-hmm. We go to Città del Castello and just a whole host of Arezzo and other places. That we go to Deruta to do the Deruta ceramic factories, yep. And then Perugia for the Umbria Jazz Festival and Delta Wires. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you got to look up Delta Wires and see some of their great jazz. So, hey, that's the next topic we had was townsizing. It's kind of like a hub when you travel. The 4th issue on this week's edition of the Weekly Traveler reads, Taxing tourists has gone too far, Paul. Hawaii slaps $100 million green fee on visitors. When will the government kill the goose that lays the golden egg? Now, here's the irony. Hawaii slaps this tax on. You know what's happened to tourism this year in Hawaii?
It's gone down.
Boo!
Yeah. Pop. Yeah, you are taking
now
something.
They're begging us, and they're taxing us. And Hawaii, shame on you, Hawaii. You should learn about this. I like they're going to care. They pick up 100 million smackers, right? So, but the point is, you can't just keep taxing tourists. It's that's just not. It's not a positive way to deal with. Hey, welcome to our community. And so I just would encourage governments to perhaps look at other alternatives to raise their revenues than just taxing tourists, because
especially a place like Hawaii, where everything you do once you get there costs twice as much as it does back here anyway.
I think they have a 12.5% sales tax or something crazy.
And the food, I mean, even if you go to the grocery store, the food costs twice as much. Milk's at $10 a gallon, and Cheez-Its are $6 a box, and all the stuff that a guy like me needs when I'm over there.
That might be the only reason to check luggage is to take Cheez-Its to Hawaii, okay?
The Cheez-Its can go in your carry-on. Trust me.
You should see Paul traveling to Asia.
Go to Asia,
he won't eat anything in Asia, so he brings like 6 boxes of Cheez-Its. He's got this massive Cheez-It box everywhere. So, hey, we're having fun talking travel. Also enjoy this time of year, as we've noticed people are already starting to work on their fall and winter travel.
And that's what a lot of people, when we started talking about great values 60 days ago, at that point, and going back to a statement I made prior regarding, you probably can't get those if you're looking to travel in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but if you start looking out 4 weeks and beyond. So there are a lot of people that I know that, we started talking about it, they started looking, and so now travel is starting to pick up, I think, for the balance of summer. And a lot of people that are doing the late summer travels, they're going up to Alaska, and I've got friends that are going next week up there, and then we're going the week after, So yeah, I think the balance of summer will probably see some fuller airplanes, because people will have started to take advantage of some of the opportunities we've been talking about for a while.
I think when we turn the corner into September, we're going to see kind of a rush to get a lot of things going, and there's still some good value. So my guess is, as you say, is the prices will probably start inching up higher and higher. At the end of this month, we'll have the executive travel airfare index. We'll do that domestically. We'll do that for coach class to Europe, and we'll do it for business class for Europe. Hey, thank you for joining us this week on the Weekly Travel Alert.
Please like, subscribe, share, and add any comments or feedback on topics that would be of interest for future episodes. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.